I bet you that no matter where you're at, who you're talking to, who you're sitting next to, that we all have something in common that we don't really stop to think about. And that is the use of illicit drugs and the heroin epidemic that is affecting the northern Kentucky and Cincinnati area. Every single one of us probably has a family member, a friend, or even ourselves that has went through the addiction of heroin and other illicit drugs. When someone is addicted to something like that, their life is changed, is controlled by that substance. Everything that they do, every breath they take, every morsel of food they eat, every ounce of liquid that they drink is controlled by that drug. I recently was able to work at a methadone clinic in Covington, Kentucky. And the people that I met, it was amazing the stories that I heard of people coming through there, of what led them to turn to those drugs, and what rock bottom they hit to decide to change their life. You know, I've been a firm believer my whole life that you can't make anyone change. They have to want to change before they make that change. And that's what those people that was in that treatment program, they had hit rock bottom, and they were to a point to where it was either do or die. Unfortunately, a lot of people that they know and people that you and I know die. Heroin is such a huge issue that we're facing right now in our society. You know, the ideal would to get all the drug dealers and all the drugs off the streets. But we don't have enough manpower to ever complete that task. But what we can do is we can open our hearts and we can open our minds to give people the help that they need and guide them in the direction that they need in order to get over their drug problem. I guess we should first start off with saying what heroin is. Heroin is an opioid drug that is synthesized from morphine, which is extracted from the seed pod of an Asian opium poppy plant. Sounds like a bunch of jargon to me. All I hear is heroin, 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 and the different ways that people can put it into their body and the effects that it has on them. I don't know how many people and lives that have been affected by overdoses and what it does to families and friends. Since 2006, overdose deaths have increased by 45% from 2006 to 2012. That's a huge number. And that's how big this epidemic is that we're facing and that we're fighting. A great website that I have found is drugfreenky.org. It's a wonderful website. It has a lot of information on it. It'll help you guide people in the direction. It has contact numbers. It has places to go. It even has groups of people that help people that are addicted to drugs to try to get them off. So what do you tell somebody that wants help? Hey, I've got to change my life. I'm about to lose everything. I may even die. I've got to change. So what are you going to tell them? Well, obviously this is going to reduce in the use of illicit drugs. It's going to make them feel better. It's going to make their livelihood better. It's going to give them a better quality of life. It's going to reduce the criminal activity. I bet you if you were to talk to a police officer that most of the robberies and things that happen are because someone is trying to get something to sell to go get their fix. It's going to reduce the suicide rates. I don't know how many people that instead of overdosing, they've just ended their own life because they think they have nowhere else to go or because they've been turned away from their family and friends. Now people, whenever they get on addicted to drugs, they get to a point where their family's just done. No, I'm not helping you no more. I'm done. I'm not giving you money. I'm not giving you a place to stay. Just leave me alone and come back whenever you're sober and you're better. Some of those people don't return because they are to a point to where they feel nobody loves them, nobody wants them, they have no purpose in life. So they end it. And then to go along with the suicides is going to reduce the lethal overdoses that we see here in our city, in our communities, and in the United States. Now, Kentucky ranks third in the nation for drug overdoses. Think of that. Of all the states in the United States, Kentucky alone ranks number three in the amount of overdoses that we have. What's that tell you? What's that tell you about the people that we know, our friends, our family, ourselves? We need to get more involved, and we need to help people to be able to fight this and to overcome it and to get off the drugs. So, some of us don't know how heroin can be injected into the body. It can be injected by needle, it can be inhaled, or you can snort it. All three of these ways of administration deliver the drug straight to the brain, and then the process starts of disorientation, of losing their mind pretty much. When heroin enters the brain, it's converted back into morphine, which binds to molecules in cells known as opioid receptors. Now, after so long of you doing this, your receptors, they're damaged, and they're damaged for life. I learned this whenever I worked at the clinic. Some people, they couldn't urinate right, they couldn't make a bowel movement, they can't eat right, they can't drink. There's so many things that was affected by this drug, and because it affected those receptors in their brain wasn't telling their body how to function right. So this can not only lead to death, it can lead to paralyzation. You can have to wear a catheter for every day of your life. You will never be able to go back to a normal life after a certain point and so much usage of this drug. So after the injection, after they snort it, after they sniff it, after they inject it with a needle, what happens? They feel this surge of rush, which also comes with like a dry mouth. They get so antsy, they can't stop moving. Their eyes get bloodshot. They're all over the place. Then after that, a nice sensation, drowsy feeling comes over them. And they're just sleepy. They just want to go to sleep. So, injection is the number one way to get all those feelings. Some people that don't inject it, they may not get that rush right away, but they'll experience all the other things, such as being tired and the bloodshot and things like that. The rush may come eventually, but it's not going to be as fast as if they inject it. So, as I said earlier, heroin usage, it affects your sleep patterns. It affects your organ use. It may cause them to fail. It may cause death. The health risk alone in using heroin and other opioid and other illicit drugs is a spread of HIV and hepatitis C. It can cause you to have collapsed veins. It can cause heart infections. It can cause constipation to the point where you're just so backed up that could cause death. There's so many factors that go into this good feeling that you get for a few minutes. And you need to stop and ask yourself, is it worth it? So what I want to challenge you and what I want to ask you to do is to find that person in your family, in your community, in your friend circle, even if it's yourself. Make that first step. Make that first step to get help. There's a thing called a SOAR group. It's a program that provides education and support to friends and family that have lived with the battling and the disease of this addiction. So if you have your brother or your sister or cousin, friend, whoever, you can go to this group and they're going to help you as well as that person that's addicted. Because this is a group effort. Because what they have done has affected you and you need help as well. So that number that I'm going to give you is 859-371-9988. And they're located in Florence, Kentucky. And just give them a call and explain the situation, and they will guide you in the direction that you need to go. One more group that I want to tell you about is called Peace, which stands for the People Enduring Addiction Consequences Every Day. This is a grief support group that meets the first Tuesday of each month. They meet at the Grateful Life Center in Erlanger, Kentucky at 7 p.m. Now I have a number for them, so if you want to call them to make sure that that is still the meeting place and the time, that number is 859-371-3787. All I can ask you and I can beg of you is just to make that step and to talk to people that need the help and guide them in the direction that they need to go and remind them of the life that they used to have that made them so happy. Thank you.